Well, welcome back to the National Hockey Centre here in Glasgow South Side as we move from a pretty dramatic women's grand final to the men's side. And there was a surprise yesterday with Kelburn, the dominant force in the last 12, 14 years, has been ever present at the top of everything, really, more or less. But they were knocked out of the semi-finals yesterday. Haven't won the league this year, weren't in the Scottish Cup final, so relinquished all their crowns in one fell swoop this campaign. So it is Grange who are looking for a treble now themselves. League winners, Scottish Cup winners last week up against Grove Menzieshill, third place side in the league, and a fascinating contest. Chris Duncan, Edinburgh University player who was involved, unfortunately a losing finalist last week, well as Scotland under-16 boys head coach. Chris, what do you expect from this one? Kelburn, big surprise. They lost in some quarters, but they haven't won anything this campaign. First against third domestically in the regular season. What's your thoughts?
I think all the pressure here is definitely on Grange. First time ever going for the treble after managing to get the cup in the league in the last couple of weeks. And as we mentioned, Menzieshill is a slightly unknown quantity in this game. I doubt many people expected them to edge Kelburn quite so convincingly 5-3 yesterday. But it's certainly set up to be an exceptional grand final.
So looking at the sides, well, for Grange, Carrie Fraser captains them. Gavin Byers is a well-known Scotland player, as is Carrie Fraser. Gavin Byers, the captain of Grove. Other key players from either side, would you pick out of that, Chris?
I think certainly for Grange, someone like Callum Milne, who's played at sweeper for them all season, has just been outstanding. He's such a calm presence for them and really dictates how they play. Be looking for him to get on the ball as much as possible. Similarly in that team, someone who maybe goes under the radar, but certainly without playing outstanding hockey, is James Nairn. Plays in the middle for such a young lad, only in the Scotland under-21 side, makes things happen and really makes his team tick. You mentioned the man Gavin Byers from Menzieshill, who obviously be a key player, but Cameron Golden is one to look out for in the middle of the pitch. Scotland senior player despite his youth. Incredible array of technical ability on the ball and can really make things happen going forward. It's also worth having the debate in terms of goalkeepers. Stephen McElravy in the Dundee Wanderers goal, just back from the Gold Coast with the Scotland side, will definitely have some confidence going into this game. And most importantly, Nathan Doherty for Grange, whose communication you will probably hear over the correspondence this afternoon is outstanding and really sets his backline up into good areas.
So off and underway, Grove in their dark blue, Grange in the white, and Grove getting us underway for this final. As we mentioned, Grange pressure on them, looking to secure the treble. And Grange with Fraser trying to win it back, but it's Grove with the fast start. Here's Ollie James and to pick out Albert Rolling. Here's Gavin Tomlinson. And the channel just behind James, but here is an early flyer of an effort from Cameron Golden. Just mentioned him.
Very positive start for Menzieshill. Look to go forward straight away, getting the right players on the ball in the right areas. Golden unlucky with a flashing shot there.
Grove Menzieshill making it through 5-3 winners against Kelburn away yesterday. Golden amongst the scorers, James, Rolling and Paul Martin with a couple. It was a 3-2 win for Grange against the Western Wildcats.
I think Menzieshill will be riding on the crest of a wave today after a really big win yesterday that probably few expected, whereas Grange huffed and puffed a little bit in their bid to get past Western Wildcats and had to come from 2-1 down late on in the game to edge. And it's definitely visible in how Menzieshill have started this game, full of confidence.
Which is probably good to see, I guess, because sometimes you can win maybe a game that you're slightly fancied and you don't quite have the same adrenaline. It's tough to get up again for 2 days in a row, but good stuff here. Golden once more involved. Cosgrove. Sliding, they have heavily watered the surface because it has dried out as the days went on since when the rain shower. Well, speaking about 7 and 8:30 this morning, it was pretty wet, so they didn't need to hose the water-based surface, but they have done between the two European Grand Finals.
Interesting to see both sides starting out with a very high defensive press. Menzieshill right in the face of Grange there for that first 16, and similarly Grange setting up high up the pitch, looking to put pressure on that Menzieshill backline. What you'll see today is Gavin Byers is on the ball just now, floating around a number of positions on the pitch. You'll see him playing through the back line, through midfield, and even times through the forward line. And he is one of the key ingredients that make Menzieshill so effective, because it's very hard to pinpoint where he will be and keep him out of the game.
Lobbed up high there, looking for Frank Ryan.
Last time we saw Grange on this pitch, they took a lead after 14 seconds, and that really set the tone for their game. And you know, they'd not had a chance yet, and the first chance fell to Menzieshill, which is always quite important in that psychological battle.
Yeah, Ryan was live from the off, scored a couple of goals in that winning at Emory University. 6-3 it was last Sunday. You may have been watching it live with us. Skill from Waterston, another scorer last week. And getting it back here. Umpires for this one, Fraser Bell and Gavin Cruikshanks.
I mentioned the confidence aspect for Menzieshill after their win yesterday, but it's really important that that doesn't manifest itself in being slightly over-exuberant in the opening stages like Gavin Byers was there defensively.
Ryan looking to get it in towards the circle instead. Goes backwards. Done wild across here for Michael McKenzie. And there is a Grange steal, and Byers getting it back. Almost a dummy, was looking back but carried on running forwards. James.
You're going to see two very similar styles of team here. Both of them want to dominate possession of the ball and take their time and be very purposeful in their build-up.
I don't know if that's intentional, dummy from Golden, but didn't quite work out here as Fraser, a real linchpin for his side. Player as well, only time for Scotland, but now here is the drill effort on Frank Ryan.
We mentioned Ryan's early goal in the Scottish Cup final last Sunday, and coming from a very similar move of that diagonal ball moving across the pitch from right to left, setting up his opportunity to shoot on the backhand. McElravy equal to it in the Menzieshill goal.
Here's Martin, frenetic start here to the grand final. Martin keeps it in play, but dotted away. That was Waterston back doing defensive work. That was the effort up the other end just a moment ago.
That's the third time that Milner's had to go to the air to outlet the ball. A real sign that Menzieshill press is causing some problems for Grange, building the ball up earlier in this game and not allowing them to play their usual pattern and moving the ball out of the backline on the ground. Highlight to some of the key players, but it's also worth looking at that Menzieshill front line, both Paul Martin and Ben Cosgrove, Scottish internationalists, which just brings them that extra bite in front of goal.
Down the line it went from Tomlinson. Fraser away with it. McKenzie. A striking run by Ollie James, but James in the end is a hook it away. Golden.
Mackenzie's definitely going to want to watch through this game. He absolutely tore Edinburgh University apart at times last Saturday afternoon with the ability to change his direction at top speed, especially as we saw him there running from right to left on the pitch, causing serious problems.
Here's Golden up against opposite number and Milne.
It's been impressive discipline from Menzieshill in the opening 8 minutes. They've kept the ball very nicely, they've moved the ball into the open spaces, and that's going to really build their confidence for this being the first time in playing in this game.
Yeah, it'll be a big achievement for them to win. See, first time on this kind of occasion for them. Perhaps to explain, similar to the women's, but there is the kind of carrot there potentially of the EHL, but just for purposes of those maybe watch the BBC coverage that maybe only watch Commonwealth Games and Olympics, don't see too much of the club game, the significance of winning this game.
The league winner guarantees themselves a place in Europe, but because right now we have 2 places of Scotland European competition, the league winner guarantees the second place, so to speak. So the winner of the playoff competition takes our highest ranking and our highest placing into the European game. You mentioned there the Euro Hockey League. If all results go to plan, then that is the carrot of playing amongst Europe's elite for the winner of this game.
That was stolen here, and Tomlinson. And it's nicked and it's saved by Rowling's effort.
That's a really strong run across the circle from Tomlinson, and then a very, very mature decision to get the ball back on his front stick and roll the ball across goal. You can hear Doherty marshalling his defence. Very impressive communication.
Here's
from
Martin. Again, squaring it across, and there's a penalty corner. Golden was in the centre. That first penalty corner goes in the direction of Grove.
Just a reward for the early pressure for Menzieshill. Really nice to see them coming out on the front foot and trying to play some expansive hockey. Be interested to see what they have here at the set piece.
So first 40-second window where both sides get themselves set. Attacking side working out the tactics. Well, the defensive side getting all their gear on, as you can see there. Blue skies continuing in Glasgow.
Aidan McQuaid, the man to watch here on the left-hand castle, the flicker.
And bobbling around. Might come back, not quite for McQuaid, but still in play. Here's McQuaid once more. And hand away by from Doherty.
Never quite got hold of his first flick from the penalty corner, but Grange made it really difficult for Menzieshill to get a clear rebound on goal with some great defending.
Cosgrove this time trying to get it into the deep. Away come Grange for only a momentary bit of respite. Try again, almost bowled through for Rowling. Turn for Mills. Picks out Waterston. It's just opened up a gap. Quaid back though from one end to get back at the other.
On a separate note, the man in the middle of the pitch, Hamish Shimry, nice to see him back playing in a Grange shirt on a pitch here in Scotland, having had almost a year out with a knee injury. He'll be a big boost for Grange in a game like this. Just his composure and ability on the ball under pressure will get them out of some tight holes.
That's bobbled up, and is it going to work out? Not quite. Or Jamie Golden. Paul Golden, the coach, so very much all in the family. Grange flung it wide. Comes towards rolling. Tomlinson trying to keep it for his side, but good stuff from Grange, but they're still in a tight spot. And they have turned it over. Only briefly. Despite Martin trying to wriggle through it.
Menzieshill have had a lot of the early pressure, but this won't really concern Grange too much. They're old heads at this kind of situation, haven't been in the grand final times before, and they know that these games can turn late on when the fatigue really sets in. So they'll be happy to ride out this storm and wait for their opportunity to get in control of the game.
Tomlinson's loft. Not too happy there. Speaking to Fraser Bell. Grange were top of the pile, 46 points from their games played. A few points behind in third, so there was a bit of a gap on this one-off occasion. A bit like the cup final last week, never quite know, and it's been a good start, we say, from Menzieshill, who rattle on themselves and into the side, netting from Cameron Golden.
Both teams' early high pressure defensively has started to wear off. They're both sitting back, and it looks like they've now built their way into the game, and they're happy with how things are going. Again, Menzieshill very much on top in terms of ball possession. Getting Golden on the ball like they did in that area, running at the heart of the Grange defence, will start to open up gaps.
Rolling, support coming in. No, flashed across there for Golden, who was in the centre area, Cameron Golden. .15 played. Menzieshill looking for the opening goal. Trying to pay off the pressure that they're building, Carnegie.
I'd like to see Grange's midfield get involved in the game a little bit more. We haven't seen an awful lot of Mackenzie, Nairn and Fraser getting on the ball and starting to set the tempo. A lot of their play has focused around getting the ball from back to front as quick as they possibly can, and whilst that may work from time to time, it's going to make it really hard for them to get any sort of rhythm in the game. Conversely, Menzieshill have looked really comfortable in possession of the ball all over the pitch.
Bubbling up just about. Standing around Paul Martin, that almost was like a football challenge there coming in, and I think that is what's going to happen. Next is a green card, going in the direction of the Grange player, of Dom Wild.
I think it's actually Paul Martin from Menzieshill who's ended up on the side of that. And similar to the yellow card we saw this morning, the interpretation from the umpire is that the player has gone to ground and taken the opposition player out.
Yeah, good spot. They're both coming off at the same time, but one was getting subbed, but it could have went. I thought it was going to go the other way, but it did in the end. There's Paul Martin taking a couple of minutes. Fraser tried to take advantage of that, but only given the possession back. Milne popped up a little bit for Waterston. Carnegie looking to break it free for Rolling.
Seen a number of aerials from both sides here earlier in the game, and really not gaining them any foothold.
Pass here for Ryan, off the body. Penalty corner at the other end. First real opportunity we may well see now for Grange here.
One of the strengths in the Grange forward line is Ryan's ability to find space. He's constantly moving and recognising where the next opportunity to get on the ball is, and you'll see him a lot open up opportunities for the defensive line to play through to him.
So it's Grange's turn to have a tactics chat for the first time of the afternoon.
Grange got a range of options available to them at penalty corners. They've got Cameron Fraser on the left-hand side, we know, and they've got two really good, strong flickers up at the top of the circle.
So it's Mackenzie to over here. And there is the equaliser. And it is Frank Ryan. Of course he would score. He scores in the big games.
Very simple routine from Grange. The ball's injected, really good pace, great stop, and then Ryan low and hard to the goalkeeper's right-hand side gives McElravy no chance.
Well, against the run and play of possession, but that experience, one little moment, got the penalty corner, bang, they've scored, and it's 1-0.
I mentioned that Grange wouldn't be too concerned about the fact that Menzieshill had been dominating the ball, having been here before, and as you've just mentioned, just right against the run and play, one of their senior players steps up with the goal when they need it. Again, really important for Menzieshill not to be too concerned. There's only 20 minutes gone in this first half, and they've been well on top in terms of possession in the game. Plenty time to dig themselves an opportunity.
It goes from Tomlinson looking for Ollie James.
You can hear Gavin Byers in the middle of the pitch there saying to his teammates to keep the ball and play the easy pass rather than looking for glory. Wonderful ball from Cameron Fraser.
Oh, and it might come in, not quite. It was Ryan on for McCluskey. And John McCluskey, not quite.
There's that diagonal ball again that Grange looked for all the way into Ryan. Doesn't quite get hold of his shot, but brilliant commitment from John McCluskey at the back post to try and get something on goal.
Here's Callum Milne. A little flick back, or attempting flick back from Ryan again. Back for the long corner and for Emery. Fraser. Bounced up off Cameron Golden.
That's a great challenge from young Robbie Crow on the left-hand side there and taking a quick free hit into the circle.
Grove's coming with it and now looking to try and perhaps win some possession back, because it's been Grange's for the last few minutes since the quick start. Grange taking the lead through the penalty corner from Ryan. Rolling through, it's a good pass. Trying to scoop it back one way or the other. Here, side now trailing, but under control.
It's a really nice move from Menzieshill. As we heard from Gavin Byers a couple of minutes ago, they need to keep it a bit more simple, play the easy pass, and you can see them doing that there, just moving the ball onto the next player who's in space, and before you know it, they're in the circle with the opportunity to get something on goal.
Wilson found a teammate in Cameron Golden. Cosgrove. Comes to an end, one or two not happy about that. Very close games between the two sides. Grange winning 2-1 against Grove back in September. Not played since the end of February where it was a 2-2 draw. But now there's a chance for 2-0 perhaps, but that flies away from Alan Johnston.
That opportunity's all stemmed from Luke Cranny running down the left-hand side, that speed taking defenders on. Ball comes back to Johnson, he's got to hit the target there. That is a brilliant opportunity to test the goalkeeper, and he has to hit the target. That's brilliant skill from Cameron Golden. The balance he showed there not to fall over under heavy pressure, and then the composure to get the pass away was outstanding.
Tomlinson. James. Wilson. Alan Johnston.
Grange's defence is impressive here. You can see how hard they are working to deny space in the middle of the pitch and forcing Menzieshill to play in those wide areas. That will really start to starve the ball carriers like Byers and Golden of the ball and force the Menzieshill players to try and create the opportunities to go forward. Poor pass by Milne, but beautifully dealt with by McKenzie out on the right hand side.
Oh, it flashes in, and one or two head and hands there because it might have or could have possibly got that telling touch. If someone was just in that right spot. I think it was Alistair Irwin who done most, was thinking, oh, I nearly got a nick there. It's going against Mills. Tomlinson. Taken well by Jamie Golden.
Great strength from Jamie Golden. Firstly to make that pick up and then to get the ball in the air and barge his way into space past McKenzie. It's a real family affair here with the two Golden brothers and dad on the bench.
Cosgrove. Somehow wriggled the gap, but unfortunately no one in dark shirt that was the round.
Menzieshill will be frustrated, Callum, that they're probably 1-0 down after the first 25 minutes, but they've done all the right things. They've put together some brilliant passages of play at the start of the game and created numerous chances, and they've just got to keep believing in that process, keep putting the ball in the areas they want to put the ball into, and they know that eventually one of those chances will fall.
Here's running and running and running. Here's Rolling coming in. Just couldn't quite spin and keep it free.
For the first time we've seen the ability of Menzieshill on the counter-attack with Gavin Byers running hard down that right-hand side. It may be that part of their game plan is to try and suck Grange in, to open up that space in behind to attack it at speed.
Glasgow couldn't carry on running, but back with the side in white, side leading. There'll be a timeout in the card. Let's wait until eventually we'll go down to their 10 on the sidelines and Jamie Carnegie taking the enforced break.
I think the umpires have dealt with this game pretty well in the opening stages. You know, there were some hefty challenges flying in early, but it's always going to happen in a game of this magnitude where both sides want to win, but they've communicated really well with the players, and it's given us a really exciting, fluid game so far.
Waterston. It's the free hit. Trying to capitalise with the extra player for the next 90 seconds or so. Cameron Golden. Just put behind. Milner there it was with the delivery. The backup comes with Waterston across Wild. Off Golden's legs. Flicked out wide by Waterston. Good play there. And could have went anywhere, waiting patiently just in case it came right through was Todd Wells.
Grange seems to be making a really concerted effort on the areas of the circle that they're trying to attack. The area that Milne is in here, they've been looking to deliver the ball from these wide-angled areas. And have shown great patience when the pass isn't on, just to keep moving the ball into areas until they get the pass that they want to play.
Waterston flies in. Oh, here's a big chance. Oh, and an air swipe though. Craney with it initially, and then behind there was support, but a swipe and that's immediate turnover. Maybe I came with a foot axe initially, but
I think Mills has more time than he thought he had there to even, you know, trap the ball under control and then roll something on target rather than trying to smash the ball home for glory. Lovely hockey from Menzieshill. Really good interchange down this left-hand side.
Cosgrove, and here's Carnegie back on after his green card. Looking to become a provider now for a goal, perhaps. Cameron Golden. Oh, wow! And there is the equaliser with 5 minutes left in the first half. And how about that for a finish?
We mentioned a brilliant move down the left-hand side, but this is pure class from Golden. His ability to get the ball under control and put the ball between two of the Grange players to find space to hit the ball on the volley, but not only hit the ball on the volley, to fire it into the left side netting. Phenomenal finish to bring this grand final back to one apiece.
And very much, if you're a Menzieshill supporter, exactly what they deserve in terms of they had the early play, fell behind, but they've not panicked and got their reward. Scored in that game yesterday against Kelburn, that 5-3 big win in the semi-final.
We're lucky to have some of those up-and-coming talent in this country on display in this game, and we can see what's coming through in the years to come with skills the likes of Golden that we've just seen.
Fraser. Oh, Ryan this time looking to try and help out in this way.
A player we didn't mention before the game for Grange, who's actually had a really positive start, is Dom Wild in the back line. Has made some excellent decisions and just kept the flow of the game maintaining for them. It's really important in these games. You don't always have the stars. You know, they've got their role to play, but the guys who just get on with their task and turn provider for the other teammates, and he's done that brilliantly today.
Turnaround here, and Menzieshill, could they sneak a second before half time? Wilson trying to thread through it. Fraser in the way, and now trying to turn it into an attack. Picked out Nairn. Quite getting further forward than that though.
It's the time now, we're just under 2 minutes to go. We just want the experienced players getting on the ball before halftime and keeping their team calm. This is not a time to be trying risky things and trying to win the game just before halftime. It's about keeping it tight and making sure they get into the halftime break where they want to be. You can see Fraser really running that role for his team and getting himself into the back line beside Milne to get themselves on the ball and just see this half out.
Well, here they are. Perhaps tried something at the other end. Emery was looking to pick out Ryan. Final minute then of this first half, which is rather intriguing. 1 goal apiece. Play on, says the umpires, as Cosgrove. Through the middle. And a penalty corner there. Albert Rowling making a mess of himself. And last play will be of the first half. It will be at that end, and it will be a penalty corner.
All come from a brilliant bit of skill on the left-hand side once again from Cameron Golden, sucking in 2 players and playing a really good reverse stick pass onto Cosgrove, who drove really hard into the heart of the Grange defence before firing that ball into the circle. Don't know if the Grange player needs to be so aggressive and physical in the way that he comes to try and win the ball, because he was in a good area between the ball carrier and his goal. Just gives Menzieshill that opportunity to get that killer blow just before half-time.
So there is the half-time hooter, but we can play out to a penalty corner.
We saw their first penalty corner option, looking from a straight flick from Aidan McQuaid. I wonder if they've got something up their sleeve here.
Byers here to inject. The last play of the first period. And McQuaid. Away it goes. That'll do for the first half. And honours even at the break. And it was arrived from a penalty corner at the other end, gave Grange the lead against the run of play, but Cameron Golden's excellent equaliser has brought things back to parity and to level terms. 1-1 here, and I guess fair enough just now. Certainly much more fairer that there was an equaliser for Grove Menzieshill, because they certainly deserved that.
100%. We've seen the momentum swing a couple of times in that first half. Menzieshill in the first 8 to 10 minutes really looked up for the fight and took control of the game, created a number of chances. Then Grange battled their way back to get on top and were probably well worth their 1-0 lead in the end. But that bit of magic from Golden not long before half-time restored parity. It really sets it up to be a grandstand second half.
So 1 goal apiece. Let's have a little look just before we have a little pause. A look at the goals. That was the opening goal. And that was a smash and strike, and it gets better every time you see it.
It certainly does. The ability for him to pick the ball up from behind him and get that into the corner is phenomenal.
Okay, then we'll be back shortly for the second half. Half time here in the men's grand final. It's Grange 1, Grove Menzieshill 1. Welcome back then. Ready to go both sides out rather quickly. They're anxious to get going here. It was a rather fast and furious first half in this grand final. And the top spot in Europe is to be decided, and we are in level terms and grouping yourself. Well, they've done well to get this far, and finishing third was good, and they beat Kelburn, but they've carried on their good form. Got a deserved equaliser after going behind against the run of play. And 35 minutes to go to decide who gets that top spot and who wins the grand final. On paper, you suspect surely Grange will just have the edge as the game goes on, but you never quite know, do you, Chris?
I think you saw in the first half, you know, just what the league is like here. We play each other so much, and teams know each other so well that inevitably they try to pick on each other's weaknesses and minimise the effect of each other's strengths, and I think that's what both sides tried to do in the first half. But hopefully with 35 minutes to go, it's a game that one of these teams wants to win, and we want to see one of these teams come out here and really make a statement in the first 5 or 6 minutes.
Well, if you've just joined us and missed the women's grand final earlier, well, Edinburgh University had all the play, but Clydesdale Western hung in and dug in, really got themselves an equaliser, but Edinburgh won through the run and shootout, and that's what would happen. If we did end up as a draw, we would go into the 8-second run in penalties, which is something you may well be familiar with now if you've watched Commonwealth Games or Olympics, or if you're a regular watcher of the domestic game in Scotland. Or these kind of events over the last few years became common practice. I guess the only difference really, well, one or two, don't think anything like the video referees at this level, or we're still in the 35 minutes a half, which is still different nowadays to the more elite level, international level, which play the quarters game. Here's Wild. Too long, that one, for the chasing Frank Ryan. Just to bring you up to speed, if you're watching on, there was 2 other playoffs earlier today, over the morning and into lunchtime. Those were promotion and relegation playoffs, big games themselves. On the women's side, Grange of the top tier holding on to their place with a 2-1 win over second tier Inverleith. In the men's promotion and relegation playoff, well, it was effectively a relegation playoff because the Watsonians got themselves back into the top flight yesterday with a win against 7th place Dundee Wanderers, but 9th place Uddingston, although there wasn't much between them in the regular season, defeated Dundee Wanderers 6-1. So it is 7th place Dundee Wanderers who go down into the second tier. So it was a game we watched earlier, Chris. It was amazing how it finished 6-1 in the end. And some interesting results all weekend in these grand places, semi-finals and finals.
Certainly the beauty of the playoff format, you know, you have to win your games when it counts, and we saw Uddingston do that really convincingly this morning with a really professional performance and one outstanding performance from one of their forward players. You know, not to be for Dundee Wanderers after all, after a long hard season, they just couldn't do the job over 2 games this weekend. And similar for that young Inverleith side and the girls side, a great opportunity yesterday, just losing out to GHK, and then just couldn't quite finish the deal today. At the start of this game, very, very similar to the end of the first half, very cagey, but both sides not really giving much away. Both teams trying to build their ambitions in terms of their purpose and possession of the ball and move this ball into space.
Here's Milne. The run was continuing from John McCluskey. And now Ryan, is it going to stay in play? Not quite, but it was wonderful vision. McCluskey making the run down the channel. Grange only lost one game in the league outings and impressive record. I think it was in the end 67 goals across the campaign. Likes of Ryan, Craney Fraser, Mackenzie, all amongst the regular scorers. Very much benefiting and being top of the table. As forward there comes Martin. One or two arms in the air, looking for a decision from the umpire.
I think Martin feeling hard done by and feeling he's been shoved off the ball by Callum Milner, probably looking for a penalty corner there. Again, though, we mentioned the umpires let the game flow in the first half. They've done the same again.
Carnegie, though, very loose and giving the ball straight away. It's not going to come to any damage. It doesn't look like it, but it might still, because it went through the legs and found Fraser. Could this be costly? Nairn. Oh, still just about alive. Away it comes Cameron Golden. Rolling.
Menzieshill did a great job of keeping Luke Craney quiet in the first half, but we saw him there looking to break and run hard forward with the ball. It's important they don't make those sloppy errors, because giving good players easy opportunities is going to really hurt them.
That's it. Players just had a quick chat with umpire while we're waiting for the restart. Or infringement earlier back in play. Carnegie. Tomlinson looking to win this back. Came off a Grange stick last Grove, continuing the possession that they had for a large part, particularly in the first 15-20 minutes of the first half. Fraser away. Back here is with Grove still working their way around the edge of the Dean, the 23 at the moment. Quaid gets it back.
Really good play from Cosgrove there. He noticed that McQuaid was under pressure carrying the ball forward for Menzieshill, and he moved his way out of the forward line right the way back into the back line to provide much needed cover and support for Menzieshill.
Barriers too long there for Carnegie.
Lovely move there from Grange. Robbie Kroll out of the back line and into midfield, then linking really well with Dominic Wilde.
Rolling, trying to get it back up that channel. Kroll again lurking.
I think Robbie Kroll's had an excellent day so far today, Callum. I think it's worth remembering, you know, there's some young players on this pitch, and he is one of them at only 16, but has shown great composure at all times, moved the ball at excellent pace, and then shown real desire to go forward when he's had the ball.
Oh, dispossessed. Here comes Johnston. Fraser. Kenny alongside. Good link up between the two. It's dotted up, it's not clear convincingly. Well, that will end that now, but a little bit dicey in defence.
Great work from Cammy Fraser to be able to get that ball across the circle. Unconventional in his approach on the backhand, but gets the ball into the danger area.
Carnegie. Good ball that there, which might well work out. Oh. Another loud challenge which in play on. Waterston just hammers away. Is it going to come to anything? It doesn't. Arm right the other way.
10 minutes in the second half now. We really haven't seen much of Cameron Golden on the ball. So pivotal for Menzieshill in that first half and scoring a brilliant goal to equalise, but just hasn't managed to get himself in the game enough in this second half. He is a real match winner for them, and it's going to be important they find a way to get him on the ball as often as they can.
Twisting the turn away. Here is Golden, you just mentioned him. Now he was lively, almost picked out teammate and Hamish Rice. And just about got it away eventually. Control for Byers. And options went centrally with Martin. Here a clatter on sticks. James, another one, and there's a penalty corner for the infringement just outside the D.
This is much better from Menzieshill. They spent the first few minutes of the half looking to move the ball around their back line, but now they've really got the bit between their teeth and they're looking to go forward. You saw Byers get himself on the ball and try and play a forward pass, and it's drawing that poor challenge from Grange outside the circle and needlessly giving away this penalty corner. Third penalty corner of the game for Menzieshill. The first two they've looked for flicked options and they've not actually managed to really test goalkeeper Nathan Doherty. Will they stick with McQuaid or will they give someone else a chance?
Well, got Byers across there once more. The central around the D. Tomlinson. There's plenty of options. McQuaid, it looks like. Oh, it's taken a deflection on the way through from Ollie James by the looks of things. And it's the crowd to the right that are celebrating Grove Menzieshill in front now.
What a brilliant penalty corner routine from Menzieshill. McQuaid in again, takes the pace off of his delivery towards goal, and a sliding Ollie James sneaks the ball into the corner. 2-1 Menzieshill.
Wow, turn up for the books, but the balance of play, they have played exceptionally well this weekend, and that's included the game so far. And the weekend of surprises and ripples at the relegation games as well as the top four games, particularly in the men's side of the top four playoffs this weekend. Still plenty of time though, 22 minutes, but Grove not changing their play, going to continue after taking the lead now.
We discussed it in the first half, Callum, when Grange went behind. They wouldn't have been too concerned about that. They know there's a long time left in this game. The worry for me is I don't want to see Menzieshill changing the way they played. You know, the last few minutes they've shown real aggression, and that's where the penalty corner came from that inevitably led to the goal. They cannot go back into their shell and start moving the ball aimlessly. They've got to keep going forward, got to keep this pressure on the Grange backline.
And space spotted, a lot of space here. Is it going to fall under control? It does for Wilson. That's well too high.
That is a phenomenal pass from side to side from Gavin Tomlinson. It's one thing to see that opportunity and see that pass available, but to be able to put it on his stick cross field with an aerial ball is really high level skill.
Johnston just about keeping it going. Glen Crosgrove defending, conceding the free hit, and that may well, well, I was thinking, well, could it be a cynical green card job, but just a quick chat, just a quick calm down, lads.
Oh, that's very sloppy from Grange. Great field position, great opportunity to build up a really good quality attack, and they've needlessly turned the ball over.
Here's James down the line here. Umpire's whistle goes. And it went off and out, so turnover. And now the switch. Kenzie found Johnstown, but not for long as Carnegie disrupted.
Just dwelling on the ball far too long there in the middle, Jamie Carnegie. He had an opportunity to get his head up and pass the ball into a new space and out of pressure, but put his head down and kept running. Massive overload on the right-hand side for Grange. Mackenzie on the ball.
Milne for Robbie Kroll. Going for the patient route. It was a bit of a fizzer. Back to just taking the time. Milne to go direct. No one around in white. Rolling did his best and won the free hit. Yeah, another cloth on a sticks. Kroll trying to defend.
We're halfway through this half now, and after taking the lead, Menzieshill are still looking like the more likely team to score. Grange spending too long building the ball up in this area of the pitch and not getting their midfield on the ball enough. We highlighted at the start of the game the likes of Fraser, Mackenzie and Nairn, and we just haven't seen them on the ball enough in this second half.
I mentioned the first half, it has been a few months since they did play, but it was a 2-2 draw in February between the two sides. And it's 2-1 here, though, at the moment to Grove.
One thing that will bring Grange a lot of optimism is that very early in the season, Menzieshill were ahead until very late on in the game, and Grange scored 2 late goals to come back and get a draw. So they'll never feel like they're out of the game until that final whistle goes.
Good play from Milne. Fired here is Fraser. He's got space to get into the D. So many bodies around. Did it come off a body? It did, and it is a penalty corner. Did bounce up. I think one or two questions being asked, but looked like it bounced off a defensive stick. So
I think it was an initial great block for the Menzieshill defender, but unfortunately it's popped up from there and hit his teammate in the back, giving Grange a perfect opportunity to fire back. You remember Frank Ryan at their very first penalty corner slammed the ball low to the goalkeeper's right-hand side into the corner.
Joy last week as well against your side from penalty corners. Won't bring that up too much, but it was the joy from it then and the joy from it here so far from it when they took the lead. And they're looking for an equaliser. 16.5 minutes left.
Callum Milne with the yellow stick is definitely their best stick stopper, so you've got to feel like their routine may involve the ball going to him.
And it's saved this time, might well be controlled by Ryan. A second goal, but they've got it half away. Here's Milne. And the block, and away comes Carnegie.
This is where Menzieshill will be dangerous on the break.
Tomlinson. Oh, just pinched off Kerr Robb's stick and cleared so they can reset.
You heard Gavin Byers to his teammate there saying play forward, showing they have no ambition of going back and they will want to go and try and score this next goal.
And arm out in Grove's way. Cosgrove tried to get it in, but didn't last out for long. Remember, this is all new to Grove, this experience, and they're 15 minutes away here.
I think the closer that clock gets to 0 and the closer to the final whistle we get with Grove in the lead, you will definitely see the nerves kicking in.
Well, here's Mills at the other end, and a penalty corner for the challenge by Tomlinson.
That's a very big decision from umpire Gavin Cruikshanks, judging that the Menzieshill player has pushed the Grange player. And he's now been given a green card for his protests.
Big gasps there was from perhaps one-sided big gasps from the decision against supporters, but what's your gut feeling on it?
I'd love to see it again in a replay, but I don't feel that there was too much contact. I think you're looking at two guys running at top speed, and even the slightest bit of contact is going to take them down. But regardless, the umpire's decision is final, and Grange have a really golden opportunity to get back into this game. The slight caveat here, Gavin Cruikshanks is actually one of the nominated umpires from Grove Menzieshill, I believe, as his home club.
Well, you're getting a good few up there, probably. Penalty corner time. Once more. Kensington Jet. Who's going to be the one that's going to take that effort and go? Will it be Ryan again? Going with Craney. And by goes Fraser with the attempt. The block came out. By the time it got to Fraser, the defence was really set.
Exceptionally committed running from Gavin Byers, making himself low.
Kluski off the volley, but bobbled up into the air, so that will be a Grove ball.
I mentioned the nerves that might kick in as we get closer to the final whistle, and you can start to see that already on the two benches. The Grange bench and coach David Knight very calm and composed down to our left hand side, but a lot more movement and frenetic action taking place on the Menzieshill bench.
Yeah, David Knight is a kind of calming coach. He's not one of those loud types. He's been known to be a calming influence on the squad, so he's a cool customer. They're going to have to watch out here, Carnegie.
The umpire giving that ball to Grange. The virtue of the ball being put up in the sky by Menzieshill and Jamie Carnegie, and it coming down between two players from opposition teams just to save the impact of danger. The ball in that situation will always go to the defensive team.
Mackenzie for Craney. Fraser. Stick came in. Fraser bobbles up off Cameron Golden. Still in play by McCluskey. Thrilling end in store here.
Lovely skills by Cal McKenzie in the right hand corner, but as we see that, Menzieshill now back to 11 players and back to full strength.
So the player light storm weathered for now. Mackenzie. Croll's ball cut out by Carnegie. He's been around about everywhere collecting these balls to intercept possession, and now Ben Cosgrove. Support further forward coming. Plenty of defensive volleys back because they know Grange, although it would be a absolute mountain, 2 goals would be a big task if they were to concede again.
Mentioned the impact of Jamie Carnegie there. The same with Gavin Tomlinson. These are the two really experienced old heads in that Menzieshill team, and they have been a calming influence, getting themselves on the ball and trying to keep the play ticking over for their side. As we get closer to that 10-minute mark, players on this pitch have got to be thinking, who is the match winner in my team? Who do I need to get on the ball in the right area? There's certainly guys capable of that on both sides. Be interesting to see who steps up.
Husky dispossessed. Curry, another one of the talented youngsters, big tall figure. These young players, remember a couple of years ago, were trying to make names themselves at the under-18s Euro Hockey tournament. It was held at the Hockey Centre. Seen a few of them earlier in the women's final two.
Callum McKenzie, certainly one of those players you're talking about there, who had an outstanding Euro Hockey tournament for the under-18s 2 years ago. And has gone from strength to strength since then, really impressing for the Scotland under-21 side.
Yeah, been some great big international tournaments, junior and senior here in the last couple of years or so. World League 2, Euro Hockey last year, Women's Euro Hockey coming next year, Europeans coming up in Scotland, so there's lots going on, which is rather exciting. This place has been used quite a bit, that legacy from the Commonwealth Games in 2014. I think there's been a mixed bag. Some sports have gained from 2014 Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, others still looking to find the growth, but certainly hockey has been something that's been growing and booming, particularly over the last few years that I've seen the tournaments, big tournaments here.
Grange coach David Knipe is surely, with 9 minutes to go, starting to think of what his tactics might be in the last 5 minutes if they're still chasing this game. One of the tactics we see a lot in hockey is the goalkeeper coming off in favour of another outfield players to give them that natural overload and give them that natural extra player. And I wonder if that is part of his thought process, and if so, when we might see that.
My mind's going back to 12 months now. Grange losing out to Kelburn in the cup final, but also in the playoff. Grange were here against Kelburn. They were winning in the closing stage, but gave away a penalty stroke in the last minute or so. It went to a shootout. Kelburn won in the shootout. Grange are having to do the reversal here. 3-3 game with Kelburn last year in the grand final. Kelburn 2-1 winners in that shootout, so Grange having to come from behind this time as the favourites. Have they got it in the metal? Well, it's still Menzieshill trying when they can to get forward and get a third goal in here. Found Tomlinson back for the long corner.
It's not a bad outcome for Menzieshill. Any opportunity for a long corner, it gives you time to set your team up and gives you a really good attacking opportunity.
McQuaid.
Here's where Grange will get their chances in the last few minutes. Guys like Craney getting on the ball and carrying forward.
Still going with that pink and black stick, but couldn't pick out the pass, and Nairn, who was waiting.
You can see Grange have really stepped up their defensive pressing here. They're trying to get more pressure on that ball high up the pitch and try and force turnovers to give themselves the chance of getting back into the game. But mistake by Irvin.
And here's Rowan now. He's going to have to do it himself here. And coming out there, Nathan Doherty, and that could be exceptionally important because a 2-goal cushion with 7 minutes left, that would have been a bit of a task.
Yeah, that's what goalies are there for, Callum. You know, called upon at the big moments, and that's why they're so valuable to their side. Because if they make these big saves when it counts, it genuinely does mean winning games.
We've seen Glasgow Western in the women's final, last minute 1-on-1 keeper save, and Enrina went on to win. So vitally important.
And on the flip side of that, I actually thought that the Milton Craig Glasgow Western keeper kept her team in the game beautifully. Found out during the game a 15-year-old, and I thought
youngster.
she had an absolutely outstanding game to keep that final close.
I guess probably relatively not had much experience in shootouts either, but terrific game. But all season she's had some wonderful saves. Up the other side here, Ryan keeping it in play from the long ball. Patient defence. Byers and Wilson were back there just trying to keep things at bay and took their time to try and clear, and then won the free hit. Cosgrove wriggling by Kroll. Penalty corner. It's got a big cheer. More time will go from the clock, and maybe a chance for number 3.
Cosgrove making something out of nothing in that bottom right corner. You know, faced with a pretty mammoth task and 3 defenders in front of him, he has done brilliantly well to carve his way into the circle and win that penalty corner. Same 2 players are on the pitch, McQuaid and James. Might we see a carbon copy of their second goal?
Both scorers yesterday, both scorers today. Cameron Golden, Ollie James. Then Cosgrove around there, Paul Martin too.
Massive moment in the game, this.
Oh, and there it is, and it is him again, Ollie James, and the story of the weekend has been written here with 4 minutes to play.
Carbon copy and perfectly executed once again. McQuaid's ball is pinpoint, and the diving James once again gets enough of a touch to fool goalkeeper Doherty. Grange have now sacrificed that goalkeeper, like we were just discussing. Dominic Wilde coming on in the bib as the outfield player with goalkeeping privileges. 3 minutes 52 seconds left. Do they have enough time?
Well, they were holding on last year in the grand final and were clawed back by Kelburn or Grange. Now they're going to have to find 2 goals. They've got the kicking back on now. And as Chris said, there he is there with the bib on there. Wild, it's goalkeeping privileges, but still class as an outfielder just with that bib on, and he can use his feet and whatnot in the circle if needed defensively, but it gives him an extra option now.
Think about my comment a few minutes ago in terms of match winners and which team had a match winner for them. You've got to be looking at someone like Ben Cosgrove winning that penalty corner, which has been so pivotal to put this side 3-1 up.
Here's Mackenzie. Just outside the circle for the long corner. Work their 5 metres. Mackenzie. Back it goes for the long corner. Here is Wild. Need to go fast here. Nairn into the circle. And long corner it remains.
Most teams these days practice with the extra outfield player and how they play, but no one really considers the impact it has on the defensive team. Already here you've seen Grove Menzieshill just get deeper and deeper to protect that direct line into their circle, not stepping out, and it's going to give Grange time on the ball, but they're happy with that. They have that 2-goal cushion. The longer they keep Grange moving the ball left to right, the better the chance of them converting this to a win.
Wild off the stick of Byers. Into the final 2 minutes, and the Clock in the complex. On the edge. Kenzie gets it in. Sting taken out of it off a defensive stick. Byers running it along the line. I think it's just ticking down that clock. And a big cheer.
Just the man Menzieshill wanted in the ball in that situation. Over 100 caps for his country and very calm there on the baseline, just crabbing his way to the side of the pitch, winning a valuable foul.
A big roles reversal as well. He was commentating your game last week and you're commentating his.
He's turned out a winner though. Possibly.
You said it, not me. First time in all that, Grove Menzieshill playing for EHL, and what a story. Final minute here. Grange looking for this second goal.
It's been a very even game in the middle of the pitch, but it's come down to who's been the most efficient in each of the circles. Menzieshill taking their chances at the penalty corner, and Grange not testing Stephen McElravy enough.
Out to the baseline it goes. Final 30 seconds looming. The job is virtually done now. It's been a weekend which started off with surprises. We've seen, and certainly in the men's side and the relegation side, with Watsonians, well, a slight surprise because although the second tier side played really well but got themselves up, the 7th place side heading down, so 2 up, 2 down in the top flight. Grove Menzieshill beat Kelburn. That was a surprise. Kelburn's reign in Scotland is over for now, and this is a big story, the big story of the weekend. Grove Menzieshill, first time real experience at this kind of playoff. And although Grange have won the cup, they've won the league, Grove Menzieshill take the top spot in Europe. An incredible story. The Tayside side have done it. 3-1 winners here. What a story of a weekend. They actually went behind against the run of play in terms of possession through a Ryan penalty corner, but Karen Golden equalised with a terrific goal, and then 2 penalty corner goals themselves from James. Makes it 3-1 in the scoreboard, and celebrations for the Dundee outfit. Incredible.
And just reward, having taken down the 2 best teams in the country over the course of the season, over the last 24 hours, resounding win against Kelburn yesterday, and then a convincing win on the scoreboard again today.
Let's look at the goals. Talk us through the action.
Grange got off to a brilliant start. It's a fantastic flick into the bottom left corner from Ryan, giving the goalkeeper no chance. But an absolute piece of magic from Cameron Golden, which turned this game on its head to bring the scores equal at 1-1. We've spoken about Menzieshill's penalty corner routines in the first half, and they hadn't been efficient, but 2 carbon copy slips to the right-hand side for deflections for Ollie James sealed this. A really professional performance from the guys from Dundee, and what's exceptional is that we have had in Scotland over the last few years the same winners of the competitions, with Kelburn really leading that legacy and that dynasty, and Grange over the last couple of years coming out to compete. It's really, really refreshing for the sport in this country to see a different team come out victorious in the playoff stages, and really well done to Menzieshill.
Absolutely terrific stuff. Grange have the double, which is great. Grove have got this playoff final win. Absolutely superb for them. A bit of a change up, which is fantastic to see. Just before we finish up, Chris, just give us your overall verdict. I know you were around and watched the couple of games and coverage, and also you've been around for most of the day. Give us your thoughts on the grand finals, and in fact over the last couple of weekends been some great hockey around.
I think it's been a really positive advert for the sport. We've seen a lot of goals, and we've seen a lot of variation in how those goals are scored. I think it's been really nice to see the fluidity between the youngsters and the older players really starting to come to the fore. I mean, we mentioned the 15-year-old goalkeeper in the women's final previously, and then guys on the pitch today like Cameron Golden really leading the charge, putting Scottish hockey in a really positive place. Fantastic work by all behind the scenes here at Scottish Hockey and on the pitch with all the players.
Chris, great to have your thoughts. Thanks very much, and best luck for the future ventures with Edinburgh and the likes, and your coaching as well. Great to have you with us. That's it from our coverage. There'll be medals that will come for the winners here. Grange, it's been a fantastic season, but the result, perhaps up there of the season in these playoffs, goes to Grove Menzieshill. Europe, EHL, here they come. From all of us here at the Hockey Centre, it's a very good evening.